Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A question for the Minister for the Environment. Is he concerned that while the European Parliament has banned the use of methyl bromide, a highly toxic and ozone-depleting gas, New Zealand's use has increased by 500% since 2000, despite our commitment under the Montreal Protocol to reduce our use of the gas?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Speaker, methyl bromide is a cause of some concern, but as so often the case with the member in the Greens, she is incorrect and misleading in her claims. New Zealand is meeting its phase-out obligations under the Montreal Protocol, which exempts quarantine use. Other uses, principally for sterilising strawberry beds, have dropped from 150 tonnes a year in 1990 to 0 in 2009. The members' numbers are also double the official reported figures. Methyl bromide is used for fumigation purposes for the exports of logs and timber products due to the quarantine requirements of Australia, China and India. Alternative approaches are being trialled. URMA is currently reassessing the use of methyl bromide with an opportunity for public input, and I have full confidence in that process.
Sue Kedgley.
Supplementary. Does the Minister accept our obligation under the Montreal Protocol, quote, to refrain from the use of methyl bromide, to use non-ozone depleting technologies wherever possible, and where we do use methyl bromide, to minimise our emissions of methyl bromide through containment and recovery?
The Honourable Dr.
Speaker,
Nick Smith.
The member seems to overlook that the Montreal Protocol specifically excludes the area of quarantine activity. Furthermore, the government and the industry, for instance in Port Nelson, is trialling the recapture of the methyl bromide, and alternatives are being used and trialled. However, the quarantine requirements of countries such as China, India and Australia, where New Zealand has substantially increased its log and timber exports, requires currently the use of methyl bromide.
Point of order, Sue Kedgley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question was a very straightforward one. Does he accept our obligations under the Montreal Protocol? And I use them out, yes or no. The Minister did not answer the question. Does he accept the obligations under the Montreal Protocol?
Point of order.
Well, I'll hear the Minister briefly.
As I explained in my answer, the member's assertion is incorrect because the Montreal Protocol...
Order. I've heard enough already. The member made no assertion. That was what was actually quite good about her question. She simply asked, does the Minister accept New Zealand's responsibilities under the Montreal Protocol? There's no assertion in that whatsoever. And I think while the Minister's explanation was certainly not in any way political critical, it would have been helpful had he answered the question before giving that further explanation. And I'd ask the Minister to answer that question.
The government is committed to meeting New Zealand's obligations under the Montreal Protocol, but the member in her primary question does not seem to realise that the principal area of increased use of methyl bromide is for quarantine purposes, which is not covered by the requirement to reduce the use under the Montreal Protocol.
Sue Kedgley.
Given that the government has committed to minimising our emissions through containment and recovery, which he just confirmed in this House, why is the government allowing 300 tonnes of the gas to be released directly into the atmosphere each year when there are perfectly effective alternatives available that don't destroy the ozone layer or put workers at risk, such as heat treatment for imported food and cars and recapture technologies?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
As I pointed out to the member, recapture technologies of methyl bromide is being trialled in my own port in Nelson with methyl bromide. But if methyl bromide was suddenly stopped from being used, there would be a huge problem for New Zealand in terms of its exports of logs and timber products to key markets like Australia, like China and India that require its use. I would invite the member, if she has a concern about the safety, to make submissions in the very credible, open and transparent process that's provided by the Environmental Risk Management Authority in its review of methyl bromide.
Sue Kedgley.
Is it acceptable that this highly toxic gas is being released directly into the atmosphere at ports all around New Zealand, where people work on a daily basis and near to office blocks, apartments, people's homes, stadiums and railway stations?
The Honourable Dr. Nick Smith.
Responsibility for setting the conditions of use of methyl bromide are appropriately with that Environmental Risk Management Authority. As I've said, they are taking the initiative to review those conditions of use to see whether they are adequate, and I would want to rely on their very high levels of technical expertise to make sure that those conditions of use are appropriate.
Question number 10, the Honourable Parakura Horomia.